All right, so we have our gorgeous Miss Sophie. Ready, cutie? So we're gonna warm up with a couple little find its with recall practice just to see how she's feeling. Ready, find it. So, and I know she's still technically in season, so I've noticed that she's been doing a little bit more marking, which is normal. But sometimes, again, the attention span can be even a little bit less than it normally is due to different things going on for her physically. Nice job, cutie. So obviously when we're dealing with developmental changes and hormone changes, these will all affect behavior. Nice job, cutie. I would obviously be cautionary. There are obviously sometimes intact males out and about. I'm not saying she's off on her own, doing her own thing, but sometimes when a female is in season, it does bring some suitors your way at times. So just keep an eye out for potential new friends. But Miss S has been doing just fine. Again, Bodhi's too much of a baby, and Mr. Lovely has already been altered, Mr. Bernie. So, and then JoJo's a girl, so no big deal. So, but obviously I know in class, when she's in the confidence building class, there's a few adolescent males as well. And of course herself and another lovely little lady went into heat as well. So sometimes it's funny, they all end up hitting it around the same time frame. Ready, find it. So with our gorgeous gal, if she's doing a stellar job with stuff, then awesome, keep rocking it. But otherwise, try to always think, what could I do to make it an easier step? How could I lower the criteria? What parts of the environment could I regulate to help my puppy be set up for greater success? So I know we've discussed this heavily where environment does drive behavior. Yes. So a lot of times we may find that if we're able to alter where we practice or the difficulty or the distraction level around the pups, we do have greater level of success. Ready? So we'll do another little find it. And then we'll go again. Sophie, come. She's like, hold up, still chewing. Can't walk and chew. Hold on, she's almost got it. It was a crunchier snack, so she's not quite ready. Yeah, nice job. Yes. So when working with our gorgeous gal, we did a little bit with, again, those lovely find it's with name recognition or coming when called. I'm going to do a little bit with some loose leash walking just to create some engagement with heading towards me and staying by the leg. Nice. So again, we're just going to feed, again, by the side, wherever you'd like her, left or right. Just bringing up some of her little chicken tidbits. She's got some very nice freeze-dried doggy snacks. Yes. She's doing a real nice job. A little bit more attentive today than last week. And again, it's all just going to vary from week to week, so don't worry. Nice. So even with us, there's days where we wake up feeling perfectly ready to rumble, and other days where we're like, can we just stay in bed all day? Ready? Let's go. What a good job. And just like I did earlier with Mr. B, our Bodhi, sometimes I do send them away so they can kind of get a little distracted and then work that orientation back to you again. Nice job. Ready, Sophie? So gorgeous little name recognition, very pretty. We might go ready, let's go, or with me, and we could start moving again. Yes. As your puppies get more fluid with any of their skills, I know we discussed a little bit earlier trying to fade out that lore. So what I'm trying to do with some of the beauties is as they become more comfortable with certain skills is not necessarily have the food presented first, but given for the behavior during or right as they offer it. Nice. So right here we'd be working a little bit more with this loose leash walk-in. She's doing some really nice check-ins all on her own. So those could be great moments to also capture that behavior. Sometimes we can't walk and chew, which is fine. So we give her a little moment. She's like, hold up, lady. Ready? Such a good girl. Nice work. Splendid. So like right here, beautiful engagement. Your babe does not have to always be perfectly like in the heel position. Remember, loose leash walking is not the same as like going into the show ring and doing competitive obedience and working a heel and working some rally. We mostly just want it to be focused towards our legs, stay soft, stay nearby, because all of those skills can be really great for safety down the road. So, and I don't mind if sometimes my puppy is lagging behind, going and checking something off to the side. As long as there's no tension, then perfect. Keep meandering through the environment together. Sophie, come. She's that big snack, not her fan. Okay, we don't have to gobble that one up. So some other options for engagement with you would be, obviously we've done a little bit with the 2-hand cookie game, but I want to work it a little bit with her. So I'm going to explain while also working just a couple simple find its. Find its are not part of this game, but I sometimes like to keep them engaged doing other things while I'm sort of blabbing about an exercise. So for the 2-hand cookie game, the way this one is going to work, I'm just going to break up some of her nice chicken snacks into a couple smaller tidbits. So the way this game works is you start off with food in each one of your hands. So if, let's say, you have 4 to 5 snacks, she's like, yes. If you have 4 to 5 snacks on each side or somewhere around there, you then have 4 to 5 chances to reinforce your babe for this game. So the way this works, she's like, and I am so hungry. So if she's a really eager woman, we're going to go into a little find it, just get her up and wiggling. What I'm going to do is, again, with food in each side of my hands, I'm going to offer my stinky hands as a sniff moment. So she's going to smell what's inside. I'm going to hold them off to the sides. And what I'm waiting for the wild woman to do is give me eyeballs. If in the beginning she gets a little bit jumpy, try to either let her simmer or take a little break. Otherwise, she might start to think it's the jumping that gave her the snack. So I'm going to hold them off to the sides. Yes. When she locks eyes into my eyeballs, that's yes. When I feed her one of those snacks from my hand. So with the 2-hand cookie game, yes, we start off, and I'm just going to move a little bit so we can see her a little bit better potentially, is you start off with your snacks in each one of your hands. You have, oh goodness me, backward sneezing plus a sneeze. So you show what you have to offer as your prizes. Hold them off to the sides, yes. And the moment, she's like, oh, so close. In the moment your babes lock eyes with you, that's when you mark the eyes catching your gaze and you feed for that. If I lose her because I was blabbing for a second, I'm going to re-show her the items, hold them off to the side. She's like, lady, I'm starving to death. So I'm going to wait for those eyes right there, yes. But I like to try to make sure that all 4 are on the floor. So notice how right there, if you can't see her eyes locking onto me, what I'm waiting for her to do is go from, let's say, for example, looking at the snack hand as being like the target from her perspective, to now going from, instead of looking at my hands, to checking in with the handler when it comes to my face. So the easiest step is show the food to the puppy, hold it off to the sides, and what you're waiting for her to do, yes, is when those eyeballs hit your eyes, you mark that and feed for those eyes. So we're not cueing her. So I'm not telling her her name. I'm not asking her for a look. I'm not giving her sort of the answer to the skill. I want her on her own to find me. So I'm just going to do a couple little find its just to get her distracted, get her up and moving, to take a little recess from it. So the way this starts, hands off to the side, you wait for the eyes to hit you. When they do, yes, and feed. As it becomes more fluid and it's becoming more a reliable response from her, then what you want to start doing, she's like, I'm starving, is then from there is you want to start building in sometimes movement. So what I mean by that is, I'm just trying to break up this chicken one broke into a billion little pieces. So I'm going to take a little bit from each. So I'm, again, hands, show her the items, but now I'm going to maybe have one hand moving. Yes. And even if she locks eyes for a little teeny second, the moment that she, yes, looks at you is when she's getting some of that paycheck. So I want her to think that even if the crazy lady's arms are moving, it doesn't matter what the arms are doing. Yes, it's when she locks eyes with you. So giving those eyeballs is what I'm feeding for. So step number 2 in this is either add some movement, see if the puppy can lock eyes with you. If she does some jumping, I would, for example, just let her slide off for a second. Right there when she gives me eyes again, feed for that. I don't want her to, by accident, think that it's part of the exercise's eyes, jump up, and then she gets a little confused. So I'm going to do another little find it just to get her up and get a little break, a little recess moment. And then we're going to try again. So I'm going to show her my food, hold it off to the sides, and I might right there, yes. Start really easy. So sometimes I like to rotate through stationary, make it simple, yes, and get those eyes on you. From there, maybe we add some wiggles, and right there, yes, she's still staring. The third more difficult step, I know this chicken's like powder, sorry. So the third more difficult step would be to, as opposed to having your hands out or in motion or behind your back, is to now show the babe what they have to potentially offer as their earnings, but then put it in front of your chest and then turn away from them. So I have all of my goodies like in my hands, like I did earlier. I'm going to show it to my puppy, let her sniff it, Bring it up towards my chest without bumping my mic. I'm going to turn away from my puppy and see if she comes, yes, to the front of me to find my face and give me those eyeballs. So again, I might show her what I have as an offering for these goodies, turn and move away from the beauty. So now my back is facing her. Yes. And I mark the moment she comes to the front of my body and checks in with those beautiful eyes on me. So I might even go ahead and turn away from her now, see if she comes to find me. Right there, yes. So this is a great way to build in that no matter what the handler might be doing with their body, with their snack hand, with their pouch, whatever it might be, I know crumbs everywhere, is that we're building up value is when you find the eyes and do the little check-in, that's when the good stuff happens. So it starts to create a dog that searches for your face to give more of these little check-ins. So since I'm not constantly saying her name and telling her over and over a cue word for giving me eyeballs, I start to get this a little bit more naturally than constantly being cued to offer it. So again, I'm going to show her what I have as my little snack options, put it away from her and turn away and see if she comes to find the front of me. She's like, hold on, your pants smell amazing. Right there, yes. What a smart girl. She's getting this really, really quickly. So, but if again, she's doing stellar, don't forget to give little breaks where you might rotate, like I mentioned a little earlier with some of the other boys and girls, is to, if your babes are constantly working a skill, like let's say the two-hand cookie game, excuse me, seltzer's a bad idea, and your babe is, let's say for example, doing a really great job with it, but now they're getting fatigued and then they're barking at you or they're getting distracted or they're walking away. Try to make sure that the engagement stays long enough where they're interested to keep playing, but stop before you lose interest. So if they're really eager about the game, maybe stop after a few reps and then want to leave them kind of wanting more of the game for later another time down the road. Nice job. So we'll do another little find it and we'll work another little recall. Sophie, come. Yes, such a smart girl. Her little winter coat is so stinking cute too with the little reindeer and the snowflakes. Ready? Find it. Nice. Sophie, come. Oh, such a brilliant girl. You're doing so nice. What a smart girl. So again, we might do another little find it. Sophie, come. What a good girl. So really stellar job with her skill set so far. So we'll maybe try a little bit more with some of that loose leash walking. Ready, cutie? So remember, you could practice both sides, just like I mentioned a little earlier with Mr. B or Mr. Bodie. You want to make sure that sometimes working on the left or the right can both be just as fluid for your pups. That way, if you needed to change it up and maybe move them, you could get them out of range from something yucky on the floor, or if there's something gross that you have to walk by on the roadway, that can be really helpful. So I know we were working a little bit with some of those fronts earlier with Mr. B. So sometimes if she's not as fluid with a front, you can add a few extra steps to create a little bit more movement throughout the behavior. But now that she's already in front of me, I want her back by my side. I might lure her or toss a snack. If, let's say, she doesn't quite understand how to be lured over to the side of your leg. For some puppies, remember chasing the food or running to grab it is a lot more engaging than sort of having the food be stationary or stagnant like in your hand. So I'm going to try maybe potentially to lure her to the side. But you can see how she kind of sits, she gets a little confused. So I'm going to toss the food. And then from there, she's like, oh my gosh, building's making noises. Bring her back into my side position and feed while she's on the side of my leg. Good job, cutie. Obviously, I know for littles, it's a little bit more awkward because you're bending over a little bit more. Ready? Find it. But she's really doing a very nice job. So Sophie, come. Nice, good girl. Nice work. So again, now we might try a little bit where she's gonna be, oh, she's like, that one was a little bit too hard. It's gonna take her a few extra moments to chew it. Good. All right. So when practicing with our loose leash walking, again, we could do left or right. If you're going to be doing whichever side, make sure to feed on the side your babe is going to be on. So sometimes I even like to go several reps of feeding by the leg, even while I'm stationary. So I'm creating a lot of great value in being by the side of the body. Ready? With me? She's like, I am getting so pooped out. Look at you, so tired. And if she tends to lag a little bit behind and you're worried about potentially like, tripping on her or stepping on her, I know she's a little bit of an accident prone woman where she goes right where your legs are. Try to make sure that when you're feeding, she's in the place you'd like her to be. So if we by accident start to feed her for, being really far behind us or being all the way in our feet when we didn't ask for that position, be it a front or whatever, your puppy might start to guess and sort of always get in your way. So she's not trying to be a tripping hazard. She is perfect for it though. So I would recommend feed for where you want your pup, and that can be really helpful. So we might go again, take a few steps, and again feed by the side of the leg where she's more by the leg itself versus a little bit ahead of you. Good job, cutie. She's like, I'm exhausted. Well, maybe we'll work a few little weights for Miss Lovely too. So I'm going to tell her to wait, take a little step if I can. If this was really hard, just like when I worked it with Mr. B, I wouldn't add tons of distance. Sophie, come. Nice. What a smart girl. Gorgeous. So we'll try another little weight with her too, because she's doing such a nice job with it. I've got crumbs everywhere. So we'll do a little sit. I'm going to feed her for that, because last week she felt sometimes working some of the skills, even though there are some of her basics, she was a little bit more out of her comfort range. So we'll get a little sit. I'm going to tell her to wait. She's like, did you throw it? I did not. So again, she's holding back quite nicely. Sophie, come. Yes. 2, in our previous group classes, I know we did dive into like the gotcha. So if, for example, she's still sometimes a little bit of like, when you go to reach for her, she takes off or she gets a little bit unsure and frolics away, I would recommend to practice the gotcha or grabbing for gear, but not have it be paired with coming when called, or for example, always getting trapped and going back inside. She is starving. She says, oh my goodness, so hungry. So if we get some woo-woos because she's excited and I'm boring all of a sudden blabbing, I'm just gonna get up and walk a little bit. Because again, perfectly fine. Puppies will bark. They'll tell you, how they're feeling, if they're frustrated or excited. I don't ever want to scold my puppy for, let's say, communicating in the only way a dog can, which is for some of them becoming vocal. I'm just going to grab a drink real quick. It's very dry in here with my darn heat rocking. She's gonna, ready? You want to do a find it? There's one over there, ma'am. She's like, that seems too far. I'll plop it nearby just in case. So back to our beauty. So there could be moments where, remember that when she's working on training and she's working skills, she's been working really hard on giving me those eyeballs earlier. So now all of a sudden, she's like, where'd she go? Where's that wild woman? So if all of a sudden now giving eyeballs gives her no reinforcement or no feedback from me, the barking is probably happening because she's like, gosh darn it, lady, eyeballs worked just a few moments ago. Why is it not working now? And that's where sometimes you get that frustration or that like, I'm still working, why is this not working situation. So it can be nice to sometimes give either little chew items or pauses. You may want to have a slogan for when you're finished doing your training. So like with my guys, I normally would say finished, and that means that we're done working whatever skill building we were working on, be it behavior to basics, to other more advanced skills. Ready? So we'll do a little find it, get her up and wiggling. But I don't like to say like quiet or shush or knock it off or that's a, no. Because a lot of times, if we're just constantly yelling about the stuff we don't love, the problem is either one, we're startling the puppy and they don't realize why we're upset with them. Or we may also sound from their perspective like we too are also barking with excitement or frustration back at them. So I normally recommend not to ignore, but to assess what's going on and then what could I do to help my puppy do a better skill instead. So like right now, Sophie, nice, great little name recognition. So for right now with Miss S, I'm trying to feed for the skills I'd prefer, or I'd get her up and wiggling and do another skill instead. If she enjoys a chew item, I would maybe plop one of those out once I'm all done doing our practice. So she has an out other than just me being the only thing. She's going over to grab some water real quick from the bowl. She's doing a really good job. Once she's done drinking, I'm going to see if I can do a little recall from her. But when working with these eyes on you, be it the two-hand cookie game, if you're going to try, I'm just breaking up some snacks of hers while I'm blabbing. Sophie, come. But if you're finding that you're trying to work the two-hand cookie game and all of a sudden, nice job, she is barking and getting frustrated and jumping up, take a break from that exercise if you find it's too challenging for that particular moment, and work something easier, which could be name recognition with find its. Because if your babe is barking, it could be frustration, I'm confused, I may be overtired, I maybe need a break. So there's a lot of different options. Her friends are also barking a little bit in the background because they're doing some playtime. Ready? Sophie, come. Yes. But maybe what we'll do is we'll give little Miss S a break from some of these skills and we'll work a few others. I want to do a little bit with novelty, bring out some of the agility or some of the equipment and see if our little lady may do well with it. If she's nervous, I'm not going to force it, but I want to see how we do with some of that fun because I know she's been rocking it at the confidence building class too. She may also need a little potty break again, and then we'll come back for some more fun.